Om. 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 Om Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Narayanaaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, today we shall see how the 1,000 glories of Mahavishnu is actually to be taken. So, the infinite is only one. It can only be one. Its manifestation in the world of plurality, with its endless varieties of names and forms, is what we see. Just as all the forms that have been created from the gold are also like gold, it can be any kind of ornament, be it a bangle, be it a chain, be it in any other manifested form. But the actual base is only the gold. Similarly, we can see so many effects in the world, but the cause of every effect should be the same. The finite alone can readily be comprehended by the sense organs, the mind, and the intellect of the man. So, at this present state of consciousness, what we have to understand is that the finite beings can only be understood and assimilated. So, the attempt of the spiritual student is to transcend his present instruments because of the perception on of the organs of action, because they are capable of only understanding or perceiving or assimilating the finite. So that's why the finitude happens. So in order to move away from the object of awareness, we have to move towards the subject of awareness. Moving from object of awareness to the subject of awareness is where the spirituality ends. As in, we cannot say it as ends, is what is the main key point of the spiritual progress or the path. So, this great reality behind the universe, though intimately experienced by the great rishis, uh, it is not a direct experience to all of us. So, in order to make it a direct experience, certain level of the maturity has to be there to a student. We all have the capability with the gross intellect where you could have done even thousands of experiments, or you could have even 2 to 3 PhDs, but still it is just a gross intellect. The subtle intellect, which we call the sukshma buddhi, has to be sharpened, and only then whatever the seers of the subject, the rishis, has seen can be directly experienced. So even we need to go beyond the subtle intellect, but at least we should have the sukshma buddhi to understand the subtle concepts or the indicators of the Paramatman. So each one of the names in the Vishnu Sahasranama signifies the glory of the Lord, which is considered in the religion as the sacred name of the Lord. So why this is needed? This is the background that we need to know the glory of the Lord through the indicators And those indicators will allow our subtle intellect to become even more subtle and grasping, so that it can really understand the actual Lord who is seated in everyone's heart. So, with this background, we see that how in the Vishnu Sahasranama, how in the Mahabharata it is placed. So, if you see, Acharya Shankara reaches the feet of his guru, Sri Govindapada Acharya, and on the banks of the Narmada river, the Nambudri boy from Kaladi got initiated into the secret of the Mahavakyas. So, at the end of his short but intense study, Shankara, the inspired visionary, wanting to fulfill the glorious work, craved for the blessings of his teacher. Acharya Govindapada tested Shankara by ordering him to write an exhaustive commentary, which is called as Bhashya in Sanskrit, upon the Vishnu Sahasranama. He accomplished this great task, and the very first work of the commentator of the Upanishads, Shankara, the great Hindu missionary of the 7th century, thus came to see the light of the day. So Govinda Padacharya, satisfied with the proficiency of the student, blessed him and set him on the road of the service and action. Earning the grace of the teacher and the blessings of Lord Vishnu, Sri Shankara inaugurated an incomparable revival movement of the descendant culture of the 7th century Hinduism. We shall here follow the Shankara's commentary and also draw our material from the Pauranika literature that has an endless store of appeal to the hearts of all the devotees. So, there are no doubts, slight differences here and there between the texts now popular in the north and the south. So, these differences are of no consequences at all. Similarly, we find very slight differences in the ritualism generally adopted before starting the chanting or the archana with the Vishnu Sahasranama. So the Vishnu Sahasranama was composed by Shri Vedavyasa, the author of the Puranas, and we meet with the great chant, great chanting in his classical work, the Mahabharata. Prince Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas, at the end of the war, approached Bhishma Pitamaha when the mighty grandsire of the Kuru family was lying on the beds of the arrows, unconquered though. So, and even he cannot be conquered because he has the boon that he can choose the day of his death. So, awaiting the sacred hour of the departure at the feet of the Lord, now the Yudhishthira, the righteous one, asked 6 questions, and Bhishma, the constant devotee of the Krishna, the gigantic man of the action, calmly answered all of them. This is how we find the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu introduced in the classic of the Hindus, which is the Mahabharata. So now Yudhishthira is the righteous man of the spiritual inclination with the moral integrity of a careful mortal, asks quite an interesting set of questions, which are typical queries, which is there in every seeker's heart. So what is the first question? Kimekam daivatal loke. Kimekam daivatal loke. What does that mean? Who is the greatest Lord in the world? Kim ekam daivatam loke. Loke, in this world, who is the one greatest Lord? Okay. So, what is the answer for that? Pavitranam pavitram yo mangalanam cha mangalam daivatam devatanam cha bhutanam vyo vyapitaha. Pavitranam pavitram yo mangalanam cha mangalam daivatam devatanam cha bhutanam yo vyayapitaha. Sorry, yo vyayapita. So, he who is very sanctity, which sanctifies all the sacred things. Okay, he is the sanctifier, he who is the most auspicious one, and he who is the God of all the gods, he who is the eternal father of all the creatures, is the one God, which is Vishnu. So Pavitranam Pavitram. So he sanctifies all the sacred things. Pavitranam Pavitram. Mangalanam cha Mangalam. So he is the most auspicious one. Okay. Daivatam Devatanam. Daivatam Devatanam. He who is the God of the gods. Daivatam Devatanam. So of all the gods, he is the God. Bhutanam yo avyaya pita. Bhutanam yo avyaya pita. Bhutanam, of all the creatures. Avyaya pita. So he is the one who is eternal. So the one who is the eternal father of all the creatures. So there is no one above him. There is no one he is the one who is causeless cause. He was there, he is there, he will be there, and of all the creatures, he is the Avyaya Pita, which cannot be, and Avyaya, which cannot be assimilated by our Indriyas or our mind. So the one who is eternal and who is ever present and who cannot be easily grasped or cannot be grasped at all by the intellect or the manas or the indriyas. So that Father is the only God who is present. So what are all the pointers we have seen? He is very sanctity, which sanctifies all the sacred things. So Pavitra and Mangalanam cha Mangalam, he is the auspicious one, the most auspicious. And Daivatam Devatanam, he is Devatanam Daivatam, of all the gods, he is the foremost God. Then Bhutanam Avyaya Pita, of all the creatures, not necessarily humans, of all the creatures in the world, he is the only Father who is eternal and who doesn't have any beginning, and who is the causeless cause, and also who cannot be understood by the senses or by our intellect. So this is what is the meaning and of the verse Pavitranam Pavitram yo Mangalanam cha Mangalam Daivatam Devatanam cha Bhutanam yo Yaf Pita. Yo Vyaf Pita. So yo Avyayaf Pita. So this is what is the answer which is given for the question Kimekam Daivatal Loke. What is the next question? Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. Who is the one refugee to all? Okay, now I understood that who is the Lord. Okay, now the whatever we understood is the pointers. The only pointer can show us, because he is not we cannot assimilate or we cannot understand him. So Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. Ekam Parayanam Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. So he who is the one, Ekam, refugee, Parayanam, for all. Okay. Kim Va api Ekam Parayanam. So who is that? So Paramam Paramamyo Mahattejah Paramamyo Mahattapah Paramamyo Mahadbrahma Paramamyah Parayanam. So Paramamyo Mahatteja. So he is the Param Teja, great effulgence. Okay. And Paramam Yo Mahattapaha. He is the great controller. Okay. He is the great controller. Paramamyo Mahat Brahma. He is the supreme. That is, he is the all-pervading truth. And Paramamya Parayanam. And he is the highest goal. How? He is the Param Ayanam. Param, highest or supreme. Ayanam, goal. So he is the supreme goal. Who is that? The Lord Vishnu. How is he to be understood? He is the greatest effulgence. One, he is the controller. Two, he is the supreme and all-pervading truth. Three, and he is the highest goal that one has to be reached. One has to take it to reaching. So he is the goal of the life, one, and he is the supreme all-pervading truth. That means there is no place where he is not there at all. And he is the, what do you call that? He is the controller as in only through him we get all the karma phala, and he is the greatest effulgence. That is, we lend the existence from him. So he is the ever-existent principle, and we lend our existent consciousness from him. So that is what he is called as Param Tejaha. Tejaha, he is always existing. So there we have seen similar one even in the previous shloka, like Abhyaya, and here also Tejaha. So next, what is the other question? Stunvantaha kam prapnu yam stunvantaha kam prapnuyur manavah shubham. Stunvantaha kam prapnuyur manavaha shubham. So by glorifying whom can one reach the auspiciousness? What is auspiciousness? Called as the peace and the prosperity is the auspiciousness. So, for example, in a house, we do not have peace. One person doesn't talk to the other person, or one person have problem with the other person, or the house is not so prosperous. You are still looking for your days to be the end of the days to meet. So that means it is inauspicious. You will have a lot of confusions. You will have a lot of trouble. You will have to face so many obstacles, isn't it? So the auspiciousness refers to the peace and the prosperity of the family in the family level, or the society in the social level, or in the spiritual life. It is the peace of the mind, and the contentment is the prosperity. So, stunvantaha kam prapnuyurmanavaha shubham. So, shubham, auspiciousness. Prapnuyurmanavaha, manavaha, man. Prapnuyuhu, reach. So, the man reaching the auspiciousness. Stunvantaha kam. So, by glorifying whom? Stunvantaha, glorifying. Kam, whom? By glorifying whom can the manavaha, the men, prapnuvanti, reach shubham, the auspiciousness. So by glorifying whom, the men can reach the highest goal. How? Who? That is Jagat Prabhum Deva Deva Manantam Purushottamam Stuvannama Sahasrena Purusha Satatothitaha. So Jagat Prabhum, who is that? The Supreme Purusha. He is Jagat Prabhum. Deva Devam. So who is that? He is there as the Supreme God of all the gods. Anantam. He is there all the time. There is no beginning to him. Purushottamam. He is the Supreme of all whoever we have seen. So he is Purushottamam. Purushanam Uttamam. Purushottamam. Among all the Purushas, he is the Uttama Purusha. Stuvannama Sahasrena. Stuvannama Sahasrena. So there is the name of the God is endless, isn't it? So the Lord, he is the Lord of the world. So Purusha Satato Titaha. So the Supreme Purusha, who is ever up, ever there, and doing for the welfare of all. He is the Lord of the world and the endless Sri Mahavishnu. Okay? Stuvannama Sahasrena Purusha Satatothitaha. Okay? So the Supreme Purusha, who is ever up and doing for the welfare of all, the Lord of the world and the endless Sri Mahavishnu. What is the second question? Kamarchantaf prapnuyur manavaha shubham. Kamarchantaf prapnuyur manavaha shubham. What is this question? By worshipping whom can a man reach the auspiciousness? What is auspiciousness again? Peace and the prosperity. how a man can attain the peace and the prosperity, meaning by worshipping whom? So what is the previous question? By glorifying whom? That is Kirtanam. By glorifying whom can the man reach the auspiciousness? Who we have to glorify? The Supreme Purusha, Purushottama. How is he? He is a Jagat Prabhu. He is the Lord of the world. And how is and what is the other property? Deva Devam. He is the Lord of all the Devas. And Anantam. He is ever ready and up for the devotees. Stuvannama Sahasrena Purusha Satathothitaha. So he is he is that endless Sri Mahavishnu who is there for all the devotees all the time. So continuing in the next question, by worshipping whom can the humankind reach the endless peace? So to that question, Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purusham avyayam dhyayan sthuvan marthyanta yajamanastamevacha. So Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purusham avyayam dhyayan sthuvan namasyancha yajamanastamevacha. So by meditating upon, by worshipping, and by prostrating at the same Purusha, man can reach the true goal, the auspiciousness. So by meditating, by worshipping, and by prostrating at the same Purusha. So this is a continuation of the previous verse. Only then we can understand. Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purusham avyayam dhyayan stuvan namasyantha yajamanasya mevacha. So what are the three things which Purusha has to do? By meditating upon, dhyayan, by worshipping, which is the bhaktya. Then what is the other one? By the prostrating at the feet of the Avyaya Purusha. What is the prostrating? Namasyancha, namasyancha, namasyascha, namasyascha, namasyaha cha, namasyascha. So namasyaha, dhyayantaha, bhaktya. So all these things on whom? On that God which is explained in Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvannama Sahasrena Purushas Tatatothitaha. So that to that Lord. So what is the next question? Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramo matah. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam ko dharma. So Bhavatah paramo matah. So, bhavata, in your bhavata paramo matah, but in your kind opinion, what is the greatest dharma? Ko dharma, sarva dharmanam ko dharma. Among all the dharma, what is the greatest dharma in your kind opinion? So, kin japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. Kin japan muchyate bandhur janma samsara bandhanat. Okay, so by doing japa of what can the jantu go beyond the bonds of samsara. So kin japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. So the japa has to be done religiously, or you can say faithfully, or you can say with commitment, with seriousness, and also we can say it as you should have the total Shraddha. So the Shraddha with commitment, with seriousness, with sincerity, the japa has to be done. Only then that is the greatest dharma one can do. So, and also there is one more answer to the same question. Anadhi nidanan Vishnu sarvaloka maheshwaram lokadhyaksham stuvan nityam sarva dukkhadi go bhavet. So both the questions are answered here. That is, the greatest dharma is the one which is the Vishnu, who has neither a beginning, Adi, nor the end, Nidhanam. Adi, Nidhanam, both are not there. So the supreme Lord of the world, and all creatures can go beyond the bond of the samsara and go beyond all the daily sorrows when they chant the Sahasranama and glorify within the knower of the world, Lokadhyaksha. So, Anadi Nidhanam Vishnum Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Lokadhyaksham Stuvan Nityam Sarva Dukkhadi Go Bhavet. So, we can go beyond the clutches of the samsara when you understand that there is a you being the knower of the world, and also by chanting the Vishnu Sahasranama daily. That is why we see the Japen Nityam by all the Jantuhu. Daily you need to do the Japa of the Vishnu. That is through the Vishnu Sahasranama. Why you should do that? Because he doesn't have the starting, he doesn't have the end. He is the supreme Lord of the world, and all creatures can go beyond the bondage of the or clutches of the samsara only through his glorious names, chanting through his glorious names. There are two ways. One is a parayanam, and also one is the understanding with the meaning and then doing the parayanam. So many of them do the parayanam, but understanding the meaning and doing the parayanam is what is important. So with the artha, if you do, then it gives you can easily understand and do the upasana of the Lord, and that makes a completeness. With that, you can understand that how the japa will help you to purify yourself. Not only purify yourself, you go beyond the samsara. So, this is what is the introduction for the Vishnu Sahasranama and why it is important. So, with this introduction for the today, we can close. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.